All right, everybody. On behalf of Apex Training, I want to welcome you guys to generate leads from the palm of your hand for $10 a year, a whopping $10 a year. So thanks to Trident Title, Performance Title, and Synergy Title for helping me put this together. And also for Fidelity, who is our parent company for this awesome app. So I'm going to share a couple cool things with you guys today that I've actually been testing out. We've launched these things and updated these things. Launched it maybe at the end of next year, but a couple big updates throughout the pandemic that I wanted to share with you guys to help generate some leads. A little bit about me. I know most of you guys, but if I don't, I have been in real estate. This week is actually 10 years, which is kind of crazy, but 10 years. I've been licensed in New Jersey and Florida as well. I've been a single agent. I ran the largest team in the state. We did 400 plus deals a year, a couple years in a row, between 80 and $90 million in sales every year. I was a team leader, recruited and trained over 1,600 agents. And now my job is to just deliver content to you guys and lead this Apex training, which is all helping you guys. Anybody that is working with us currently or already sending us deals, we surely appreciate it. If you are not yet, for whatever reason, we know they're coming. But we started Apex just to help you guys build your business because we believe in the win-win. We know that if we help you build your business, naturally, we're going to get some of those deals back. So again, thank you guys who have already been sending us business. And on behalf of all of our fantastic reps on the call, we have Melissa Kidwell, Dave Ward, Tracy Sender, Gab Bryce, and myself. We appreciate you guys. June and July have been our busiest months ever, so thanks to you guys. And we are officially the #1 title company for market share in Palm Beach County, so we could not have done that without you guys, so thank you. All right, let's dive in a little bit this week on generating leads from the palm of your hand. Those of you that were on the call last week where we talked about all the different strategies and the different ways to generate leads, if you remember, one of the buckets, the final bucket that I talked about was how to generate leads through sources that you have to pay for. And if you remember, or if you paid attention to that or went back and watched the replay or anything, I gave you 10 of them. And what I wanted to share with you is the true cost on some of those, because we're going to dive into this thing for $10 a year because it's a huge piece of value that we deliver to you guys. But I just want you to be able to compare it because it does a lot of the same functionality. So last week we talked about that. In that final bucket of paid for leads, these were the 10 sources that we talked about. So if you don't remember, I'm going to list them again for you, show what the cost is of them annually, and give you some examples just so you kind of have a rough idea. So IDX search portals, those are your Zillows, your Trulias, your Realtor.com. To get enough leads to really make traction in there, you have to own a percentage of a zip code. Roughly, that will cost you about $500 a month. So you're looking at about $6,000 a year. Next, they're home value calculators. We talked about those. Basically, a place where you send potential sellers or potential refi clients that are looking to sell a home in the future, want to know what their home is worth. And to get those, you're usually spending about $200 a month. Total $2,400 a year. Big data. These were the offers and the smart zip companies that allow you to know who's most likely to move based on how people are behaving and reacting online. So we had given you 2 of those sources. Those run you about $500 a month each as well. So you're looking at about $6,000 a year there. Number 4, your paid referral companies. These you usually pay a base about $300 a month. And then 25 to 35% of all the transactions that you used to use. So we used to use one called Agent Machine. It was you paid $300 a month, and then a percentage of every deal that you did went back to them in exchange for leads. Self-managed pay-per-click, we talked about that. Looking at usually somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 a month, $14,400 average cost per year. Social media ads, to generate enough leads to really do damage, you need to spend about $1,000 a month. So 12 grand a year. Print ads, same thing. To do enough damage to get out there and hit enough homes, get it in enough mailboxes, $1,000 we're talking about. So say $12,000 a year. Sponsorship, sponsoring maybe a kid's sports team or an event or the playbill at your kid's play or event or whatever they're doing for school, looking at about $500 a month to do something like that. So $6,000 a year. The builder trade-in programs, if you're working with new construction, $1,000 a month to get that off the ground. And any of the company managed pay-per-click companies, they start at $1,500 a month. So you're looking at $18,000 a year. So when you look at all these are the top 10 most popular paid lead sources that people actually dive into regularly and spend money. And for most of these, you're looking at a 6 month to a year commitment. And the average numbers that we threw up here are about what you're going to spend a year. So what I like about what we have been designing at Trident Performance and Synergy is this app. So our app, it's actually free to get the app. The part of the app that we're going to talk about today is a whopping $10 per year. We actually do not make any money off that. The only reason we have that is because we have to stay compliant. So one of the rules in advertising with title companies is that we cannot just give stuff away for free that is going to help in advertising. There has to be a charge for that. So we came up with this cost. It's actually $1.99 a month if you do it monthly, or you can pay $10 and get it for the whole year. So that keeps us compliant. That keeps you compliant. So none of us have any problems with that. And we're going to kind of unlock the power of that today and go through that. So for that $10 a year, how does this actually work? We have these new things called lead gen calculators, lead generation calculators. If you've been using the app at a real high level on the premium function for the last couple of months, you've seen them in the past. We started out with just one, and then we've been developing them and messing around with them and testing them, and then we got up to 7. And if you've been on there recently, there's been a huge update, and now it's, I believe it's 21 of them. So I'm going to actually go through all 21 of them for you and just show you what they look like. And then when we're done with that, I'm going to explain to you how you get them to work. And then we're going to give you the opportunity where if you need some help with these or getting them off the ground or getting them running, you'll be able to connect with your rep and connect with me as well. And we'll do some one-on-one action to help you with these. I have been testing these and playing around with these for the last like 60 days or so in preparation to doing this class. And there really is no additional spend, which is awesome. It's a great tool or a great thing that you can cold email out. You can do it on social media. You can run ads around it. So basically, this is guaranteed content for you to be able to capture leads. So let's dive in to all of these different lead gen calculators that we offer. This is kind of a summary picture. When you pull this up either on your phone or on your desktop, I actually have transferred over and I use it from the computer now. Functions the same way as from your phone. It's just a little bit bigger to see. And for those of you that are blind like myself, it's much easier to work on a big monitor than it is in my phone sometimes, especially when I'm trying to do things to generate leads or to get it out to different places. So you're going to see some screenshots that are, some are from my phone and some are from the computer. And if you're not using these yet, again, at the end, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to kind of check in with your rep and schedule some time where if you want to get working on these, you can. Again, we're not going to force you to spend money, but it is $10 for the year if you want to use these. All right. So first is a refi calculator. So this allows you to kind of run the numbers as a homeowner and find out if this makes sense. So I know right off the bat, we're thinking there's some lenders on this call. So obviously this is a great tool for you, but agents, what you want to be able to help them with is one of the things we talked about in the past is serving all leads that come your way. And a lot of the times when a lead comes to you and they're thinking about finding out the value of their house, they might want to sell, but truthfully, sometimes the right move for them is to refi. And really for anybody that you've sold a house to in the last 3-4 years, right now is the time to refi. So you're going to use this tool to help them figure out if they want to refi, or with your fantastic sales skills, you're going to turn that into a, hey, look, rates are down. Maybe this is the time to move up. Let's get the most we're going to get out of your house. And while prices are low, let's use this as an opportunity to actually move up. So refi leads right now are huge. They're turning into sellers, which are turning into buyers all the time. So this refi calculator is one that we want to use. Next is the buyer estimate calculator. So this is one that's kind of like an online mortgage calculator, but what it allows them to do is play with and run the numbers themselves without having to bother their lender, their title rep, or their agent. And I know sometimes we think, oh, we don't really want them doing that on their own. But the truth is at 2 o'clock in the morning, when they want to just mess with it themselves, they want to be able to get an answer at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they want to learn how to do these things themselves. The good part of this is that it's tied into your app. Anything that they request or information, it goes right to you anyway. It's all branded to you. So you're going to give this out to them, connect this to them, and then let them start kind of messing around with those numbers a bit as well. And believe me, when they have questions, I've just been testing this just with friends and even family. And, you know, I'm in the business and have done real estate all day, every day for 10 years. And you'd be surprised the questions that come up from people that you would think know what is going on. So it's a great tool to kind of help, you know, spark a conversation. Rent versus buy. This one is probably my favorite versus all of them. This is the one that allows people to really match up and look, okay, if I'm renting now and I'm paying X dollars, not only what could I buy for that, but where's my break even point that when I buy a house, where does it break even and I start turning that into equity? So this tool actually shows all the options. So if it says, it'll ask you for a question of what your rent is now. So let's say you're paying $2,000 now. Then it'll ask you, do you have any money saved? So do you have, I don't know, $20,000 in the bank? Great. Well, then you can put a down payment on a house, and within 3 years, you're going to break even. Instead of throwing that money away for rent, you're going to break even, and it's going to move to the right direction for purchasing or selling a home. So what's good about this is it can help generate rental and buyer leads, but really as realtors, we know most of the time we want to do those sales, right? We service the rentals, but we want to do the sales. That's where we're making some real money. And this is a great tool, especially for down here where rents tend to be usually 40% roughly above what an actual mortgage payment would be. So this is a real eye opener for a lot of people. It doesn't work in every part of the country as well as it does down here. But those of you that know the rental market in South Florida, truthfully, it's harder to rent right now than it is to buy. So cool tool. Seller net sheet. So this is for your potential sellers. This works really great for FSBOs. This works really great for the people that are thinking they're going to sell 6 months or a year down the line. Someone that you have in your seller pipeline that you're thinking, okay, you know, I know this person's going to sell, but they're not ready yet. Maybe it's because of kids being in school, whatever happens with that, or you know, a job transfer, they're waiting for the right time, or there's a certain day or a certain year in mind. This starts helping them understand what it actually costs to sell real estate, and helps them kind of connect to you in that they can talk to you guys more about this. It's really fantastic for FSBOs. I will tell you one of the strategies, something we're gonna throw a FSBO class next month, but one of the things that we've been doing with this early, and I've been kind of encouraging agents to do, is get this app in the hands of the FSBOs early. And the truth is, some of them are just going to sell without us, right? But the ones that don't, whoever gives them the most value is going to be who gets that listing when they do decide to give up. And most people are just pounding them away with the same 4 or 5 corny scripts that everybody else uses. If you can actually deliver something of value that you can drop right in the palm of their hand, it's going to give you a leg up. Monthly affordability. This is a cool one. This is for your budgeters. So a lot of times we run into clients that are, if you've ever seen the DISC profile, they're the S and the C. They like to really have their budget listed out. They want to know exactly how much is coming in, exactly how much fixed is going out, and what they can really afford. This is a great tool for that. It kind of helps them figure out if the price point that they want to buy in or the price point that they're, you know, searching in is going to be realistic for their lifestyle. So it is pretty cool. Again, all these are branded to you, and they have to put their information in again to be able to get access to any of the numbers or anything. So if you're sending it out to people, or if you're cold blasting it out, you're going to get some information back from them, which is a plus. Extra payment calculator. So this one, again, is more kind of in the servicing clients you already have, but this is the one that will show you if you add an extra payment, meaning if I throw in 500 extra bucks this month, or if I make 1 extra payment per year, what is that going to do to my mortgage over the course of 30 years? And for some people that are thinking of refining right now, or thinking how long they're going to hold the house, cool calculator to be able to help them understand, you know, really where they are financially. And if they can throw that extra payment in, how much it helps them, you know, could cut years off the mortgage if they're throwing in an extra payment a year or a couple extra bucks per month. Equity calculator. So this is kind of similar to a net sheet. Again, they have to punch their information into this, but this is helping them figure out rough guess of how much equity they actually have. And if they're going to buy another property, how much of that is going to transfer. Really cool just for people that are looking, maybe that have owned their house for a while. This is not that effective with the person that bought a house a year ago. We're looking at sellers that are longer term owners or longer term holds on this one, because it kind of helps them show how their equity is built up. Monthly affordability, similar to the one we did before, just a different version of it. So you're going to see a couple of these start kind of doubling up. It's different versions. There's different graphics. There's different capture tools. What's good about these, with these 21 different calculators, you can run all of the first like 8 or 10 original ones. And then once you run those, you can do the next batch of them that look a little different and change up some of the numbers and change up some of the marketing with them. That way you have a new piece of content and something different to reach out to people with. Another monthly affordability one. This one is all about why you shouldn't rent. So when you go through it, you click through it and you look at the graphics, all of it is kind of helping them realize that they shouldn't be renting. There's like some subtle hints dropped into a lot of these things. that you're going to see are pushing people and encouraging people to buy or to sell or to do whatever it is that you are hoping to get out of these. Next is the buyer estimate. So this is if they're starting to prepare to be a buyer, it's getting them to understand what closing costs cost and what it costs to do an FHA loan and a VA loan and a conventional loan. So this isn't really for your cash buyers. It's more for people that are looking to do a loan. If you haven't worked with first-time home buyers recently, or you're not actively in the buyer market, I will just tell you from a little bit of market research over the weekend, plenty of people are out there that are looking for help with closing costs because they have, just enough money to squeak by a down payment, or they're getting a gift, or they're doing FHA, or they're doing VA or USDA or one of the 100% financing where they have no money for closing costs, small amount of money. What you really want to do is get these buyer estimate ones into the hands of your potential buyers that are 6 months out, because it's going to make the transaction much easier for you. If you haven't recently been on a transaction side where you're working with the buyer and they need, 3 to 6% back to be able to close, the market is so on fire right now that sellers don't need to do that, right? When we're in a hot seller's market like we are right now, the sellers don't need to do that. So when the buyer in this example that needs all those closing costs back, or doesn't understand what it's actually going to cost them to close, goes in and wants to write an offer on the house that just popped on the market yesterday that the whole world saw, they're not in the best standing. So you want to use this as a tool really to leverage your upcoming pipeline and help those people that are 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, even a year out, not only to stay in touch with them, but also to help them understand that, hey, look, I know you might have your 5% or your 3.5% saved, but I want to prepare you for what it's going to look like to actually close this file. Usually you're looking at an additional 2%-ish to be able to close for closing costs with a buyer. And if that buyer is not prepared, it ends up being a nightmare as a realtor to try to get those deals done where you're getting the seller concessions or seller credit. So use this to help them, upfront as far out as you can. Whenever you meet somebody at the bar, or I guess not the bar anymore, at the Zoom class, or you meet someone online or an internet lead or an email or anything like that, and they tell you they're starting to think about buying, you want to get this into their hands. Another version of the extra payment one basically shows them kind of the flip side of the other one, where this will show them, okay, how much money are they going to accumulate in equity by making that extra payment now. So if this is a long-term play, meaning they're going to be in their house for, more than the NAR average, 7 to 10 years, these extra payments are going to help them build equity. So this is another version of that one. Another buyer estimate one, just a little more family geared. Another rent versus buy one. I love this one because I like the throwing the money in the toilet one. I always say lighting money on fire, and this one I guess is a little bit better. So good one here for sure. Quit throwing money down the toilet. This is the branded piece of it that they get. They actually will get a little graphic in the text message or in the email or in the social share, however you choose to share it. Another version of the buyer estimate. There's 3 or 4 of these in there. We've gone over that one already, so I'm not going to keep beating that one up. Another version of the equity one. So how much equity do they actually have in their home right now? It helps them understand their payment, especially if they're in the house only for the first couple of years, where if you ever look at those amortization schedules and realize, like the first year you pay like no dollars in principal, it's pretty much all interest. This kind of helps them understand that and understand how equity works. So when they do go to sell, they're kind of in a better position. Another version of the equity one, another version of the extra payment one. I like this version of the monthly affordability one the best. This one, you connect with them and basically just ask them how much they want to pay. And it spits back out a reverse engineered number of what would make sense. So it'll say, okay, you want to live in Palm Beach. Great. And it'll have you pick a city. And in the app, built right in, it actually has the tax millage rates in there. So it's going to rough guess taxes so that they can understand that those are in there. And if it says they want to spend $1,750 a month, it'll ask, like, are you going to be in an HOA community or anything like that? And then it'll spit out an estimate back that will say, okay, well, with that payment, you can afford a house that's, let's just say $250 or maybe $300 even now with rates so low that $1,750, you can get that payment. And then there's a little button on the bottom right that says, do you want to see houses in this price range? And when they click on that, it connects them to you, the real estate agent. So I like this one a lot, the monthly affordability. Great one for people that are renting. Great one for first-time buyers. Great one for like the move-up buyers, the just getting married kind of age people that are really trying to squeeze into some kind of a tight budget, this helps them understand, and it connects them right back to you, the agent. So if this is a warm handoff where you're sending these apps out to people in your database, like I said, I've kind of been testing that one, just messing around with it. You already know them, but they have to come back to you when they want to do something. And if this is a cold send out where you're cold emailing it or running Facebook ads, running Instagram ads, Google ads, LinkedIn, social posting, anything like that, if someone grabs this or it gets shared or sent to somebody that you don't know, they have to put their information back and at least give you back an email where you can connect with them. And the good thing about using social or any of those things is once you have an email, you have them, right? Because they have to have an email to be on Facebook and things like that. Another rent versus buyer, another rent versus buy, still paying your landlord's mortgage. A couple different versions of those. The seller net sheet one I like. This one's kind of funny. It's just the color of money. It's just green stuff. It's a little brighter than money actually is, right? But different version of the seller net sheet. So again, good for FSBOs, good for your potential sellers that are getting ready to go. It's going to help them even with the tax prorations. So a lot of things that they don't understand that they kind of get hit blindsided with sometimes, either at title or at closing, helps them understand all those fees. It even leaves room for repair costs or if they want to give a credit. So a lot of times sellers will say, look, we know the carpets are old. We don't want to fix them. We'll give you $1,000 carpet credit. And you can actually plug that right in so that they understand on their net when they're plugging in that $1,000, how that affects everything, which is cool. In there also is reissue credit. So if it's a flip, some people were on the call a little earlier. I was talking about it. We did a flip this weekend, and it's great for people that have the reissue credit. You can put in how much you bought the property for, so how much you had title insurance before, and then your new rate is based off of that reissue credit if they bought the property within the last 3 years. So definitely another cool tool there. Another version of the seller net sheet. I really like to tie this one to the home value calculators, or anytime you're running the ads, like I'm going to give you a free CMA or free appraisal on your house, things like that. That's a popular tool to generate seller leads. We used to do one called the home profit calculator, which was, okay, if I sold my home today, how much profit would I actually put in my pocket? This net sheet and this version of the app is set up just for that. Another rent versus buy one, a little beachy themed for us. Another version of the seller net sheet. So how do we work with them? So we've kind of figured out the process on how to make these work. It's nice and simple. We're going to wrap this up nice and early today, and then we will let you have time to get in contact with your reps. And if you want to set up time to work on these, I'm going to make myself available throughout the week in little 15-minute increments where we can just hop on a call or hop on a Zoom and be able to help kind of connect you guys to this. So how do you do this? First thing you want to do is contact your rep. They all kind of look like that still, except for me. Anyone that's seen me in a while, that picture is the standard start your real estate career, get a picture, and never change it again. So I'm hoping to keep that going until like 2050. So whoever got you on this call, whether it was Melissa Kidwell, Dave Ward, Tracy Sender, Gab Bryce, or myself, if you don't already have the app, what I would suggest doing is reaching out to them. After the call today and tomorrow, we will reach out to you guys to help you if you need it. But if you want to kind of get ahead of that, reach out to whoever got you on the call. Set up a one-on-one with them. They all know how to do the app, and they all have unlimited access to me to kind of connect with me. And then you're going to download the app. So if you don't already have it, you download it. They will share it right out to you, a nice, easy one-click link that you can just download it. It doesn't matter if you have Android or if you have Apple, you can get it started right away. One thing that people are not doing, I have the access kind of on the back end of the app to help the agents out. And what I see a lot of the times is that no one is really completing their profile. They're just starting the app and not completing anything. This profile is what helps brand those calculators to you. So it defaults with just some blank pictures. I just put a Trident logo in there, but what you want to do is there's going to be two options. One will be your brokerage logo. So whatever company you work with at school, it doesn't matter if it's a boutique or a big franchise, you're going to have an option to put your brokerage logo in there. And then you're going to have an option to put in your picture. If you have your own team or your own brand or your own logo or anything like that, you're going to actually have two pictures in there. It's important that you do these, because if you do not do pictures in there, they just see a little gray thing that says select image or a silhouette of a headshot of a person. And it kind of looks silly. It looks like you just didn't care enough to do that. So make sure you actually do that. Your personal info, nice and easy, right? Throw your phone number in, your full name, your email, whatever your website is, make sure that's in there, because that brands to the app as well. So if you have RyanSellsPalmBeachCounty.com, put it in there. Doesn't matter if it's a brokerage website, a private website. Doesn't matter if it links to your Facebook or an IDX or whatever. But you want to make sure you have something in there. Licenses. So if you're a lender or an agent, put that in there. Again, kind of brands all that stuff to you. And then you're going to have a spot for your company information on the bottom as well, where you're going to load that in. You can choose if you want the equal housing logo on. You can choose your languages now. For those of you that haven't been on the app in a while, they've updated these languages. There's like Mandarin in there. It's unbelievable. Like any language that somebody speaks, we have it covered in the app now, which is really unbelievable. So get that profile completed once you download the app. And you want to hit the upgrade to premium. So if you've been on any of my classes about our apps before, or any of Gab's classes, she does a great job teaching them as well. A lot of times we stay in the free stuff because we're not, pushing you to buy something. But if you want to do what we just covered, it's in the premium section. So when you click on it, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to upgrade? Like I said, it's $10 a year to get that upgrade to where the lead gen calculators are. And then when you do that in the premium, you get a great section of 3 different options. So one of them is infographics. We're going to do a class on content with those as well, but the infographics are amazing. One of them is lenses. So Gab has done one on those 4 that are a blast. They're kind of like the Snapchat or Instagram filters, some people call them. It puts layers over your picture so you have some cool branded fun stuff. And then the one that we just talked about today is called lead gen calculators, and you're going to see all of them there. So again, my personal suggestion is download it on your phone, but also download it on your computer. Like I have a Mac and I have it as one of the apps on my computer, and it's like a million times easier to use from your computer. But if you need it in the field, it's really key to have it on your phone. So if you're sitting at that kitchen table with the seller and you think you were going to price the thing at $425 and you get them agree to $415, then you want to be able to change those numbers on the fly and show them that without having to bust out paper or wait 2 days to get back to them with numbers. Big tool with the app. So once you select the calculator, you're going to share it. So I took a screenshot here. The one on the left is from the desktop, and the one on the right is from the phone. So either way works, but what's cool is you have a lot of different options. So once you pick one of the calculators, whichever one you're going to use, you'll see where it has a share button. Every one of the calculators has a share button. And if you're on the desktop, you get a couple of different options that are really sweet. So first, you could share onto Facebook. So it asks you to log into your Facebook. You can share it to your business page, your personal page immediately. And anyone that sees that, clicks on the calculator, you have the ability to capture their information. You can share it on Twitter. So if you're a tweeterer and you do any tweeting, you can throw it up on there. You can share it on LinkedIn. Those of you that have been on my LinkedIn classes know I've kind of been pushing this a little bit lately because content is so light and so bad on LinkedIn. There's huge opportunity right now to get that out onto LinkedIn. You can share via email. So whatever email, provider that you use, you can just click that and it will connect you so you can share it right to email. You can do the copy the URL, which basically takes them to a private website. So what I've done a couple times with that is I bought a domain name on GoDaddy, which GoDaddy is a web hosting service if you've never used it. You can literally buy a domain name for $2.99 for 12 months. It's like the cheapest marketing you're going to do. And let's just say you called it Ryan's Rent vs. Buy Calculator or whatever. Ryan's Rent vs. Buy Calculator.com. You can put that URL to go to that domain name, and then you can have that domain name send these people to the calculator. So you can put it on your business cards. When we used to do these years ago, we would put it on postcards, business cards, every flyer, every piece of direct mail that went out had things like this with calculator URLs on there that people can click right in. And you can even embed. So if you're tech savvy or you have your own website, especially if you're using like the WordPress-based sites, you can click this copy embed code, and you can actually embed this right on your website. It doesn't cost you anything. Whatever website platform you're using, if they allow HTML, which is like 100 years old now, everybody does, you can copy this and drop it right on your website. So this could be a live page right in your website, which is awesome. And then on your phone, a couple of different share options that I like on the phone. Number one, at the top, you see right away you can text it out. So you have the ability to just go right on, text this right to someone. So what I've tested this out, and I'm not necessarily saying you should do this, but what I've tested this out was just sending it to leads. So old leads that you have sitting around, if they're renting or you had in your notes that they're renting, you can just shoot them a text. Do not mass text. I repeat, do not mass text. Do not mass text. You can shoot them an individual text and just say, hey, John, was thinking about you. I know you were deciding between renting and buying. check this calculator out, kind of cool. And if you have any other leads, works great like that. Email, obviously easy. Facebook and Twitter we talked about. And then you can copy it and send it out anywhere you like. So I tested it on WhatsApp. I have like a family group chat on WhatsApp and Telegram if you've ever used those. It works in those. You can copy and paste them right in. You can put it on Snapchat. You can even put it on Tinder. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can copy this link, throw it right out there. And anywhere that you can type in your own text, you can use this. So awesome option for sharing right from your phone or right from your desktop. Then you're going to let them play. So that's actual footage of me during quarantine playing on a duck. Figured I would give you guys a good laugh because it cracked me up to see this stupid picture. But we need to let them play, right? So once we share the app, once we've gone through all of this, we've selected which calculator we're going to do, we've shared it out, we now need to let them play. So we want them to play. The goal with these calculators is keep putting them in front of people so that they have the opportunity to play with these things. Because again, they don't always want to be bothered or be bothering us when they're not quite ready yet. So if you have a lead that's cold or they're in that nurture phase where they're 3 to 6 months out, they don't want us driving them nuts all the time, right? It's the shoe store theory. You go in the mall, you look at the shoes, and if you're not ready to buy shoes right away, you don't need help. And you send the rep or you send the salesperson away right away. Same idea. We need to just let them play with these, put them in front of them, and get them on this app, get them using this cool stuff that we have for you guys. Then we're going to capture. So there's a little capture tool in there that once they do anything in the app, it's going to send them this little pop-up. It pops up right on their screen. And if they want to do anything further, if they want to see houses, if they want to talk to a lender, if they want to talk to a title rep, they have to connect with us. So there's a forced capture built into here. So you guys as real estate agents get that information back if it's a cold person. If you already know them, again, you sent it to them via text, you obviously have their number, so you're not worried about that. But this is if you're setting up something cold. Then the most important, we got to follow up. You don't even notice that I'm clicking the same slide 3 times, but there's 3 slides that say follow up in a row. Follow up, right? Once we get that information captured, we want to follow up with them and see how they are using it, how it's working for them, and what we can do to get them out there and show them houses, whether it's rentals, purchases, refis, get in there for a seller listing appointment, whatever we need to do, we can help them on that. You guys can help them on that. And if they do end up with a refi, I don't want you to think, oh, this sucks, I didn't get paid. You're strengthening that relationship. You're helping someone financially move up in the world, right? They're refiing, which means they're saving money. That's giving them more money for something else, more money for equity, whatever it is. And we can help you with those refis too. So if you have someone that needs a refi, connect them to us and we will do all the refi work for you as well. So follow up. 3 slides worth of follow up. In summary, this app rocks and it is so underutilized. We've had over 1,000 unique agents on all of these calls over the course of the time that we've been doing this. So since the beginning of March, and I have the back end access of the app. And of all the people that we've had on the calls, less than 25% are using them. I think the number is 220 or something. So just under 25% of you guys are actually using this app regularly. And as someone who, and Lori is on the call, who used to work with me on my team, can attest, we used to spend a disgusting amount of money to generate leads. Like there was months where it was $20,000 and $30,000 of lead gen spending, where this app replaces that for $10. So if you're not using this, you're absolutely missing out. Make sure you connect Dave Ward, Melissa Kidwell, Tracy Cinder, Gab Bryce, or myself, and we will work through this with you if you can't figure it out. We will get the recording up in the next couple days this week, and we'll reach out to you with that. So if you want to see how to do it again or go through any of the steps, we can definitely do that. Again, if you're already sending us deals at Trident, Performance, or Synergy, of course, we appreciate you. If you have not yet, feel free to reach out. Let us know what we can do to earn your business or what we need to do to help you with to get you moving. As always, learn from us at Apex Training. If you haven't done any of our classes before, we surely appreciate that you're on for the first time. Jump on our Facebook and like that, because that kind of has the up-to-date thing of when the new classes are coming and what's coming out, and our YouTubes and everything. Kara, thanks as always for designing all the slides and doing all the marketing. If you guys like any of those GIFs or the videos or flyers or slides or anything that you see us posting and you want that for your business or your brand, reach out and I'll connect you there. Coming up, our next 2 classes. So this Thursday with Paul Krasker, we have Better Call Paul for 1031 exchanges. So if you do not know what that is, first of all, you definitely need to be on here. And if you do know what it is, you want to make sure you're on here. Basically, a 1031 exchange is when someone sells a property and they want to defer tax so that they don't have to pay a big chunk of taxes. It's how they invest in another piece of real estate or multiple pieces of real estate. It has to be an upward vertical movement. So as a real estate agent, it's really good to know about these because you get to go from someone selling something for maybe $250 to now they have to spend more if they want to defer the tax. So it's great for you guys to understand how to get higher price point deals. And 1 week from today, we're doing circle prospecting to get listings. If you don't know what that is, we've talked a little bit about circle prospecting in the past. Basically, it's when you're working on a property or a coworker or someone at your brokerage is working on a property, what you do to get leads in the circle around that. I'm going to share you and actually give you guys out all of my scripts that we've used in the past that we've taught and trained all over the country on how to do circle prospecting and what to say, exactly what to say, when to say it, why to say it, how to say it. So make sure you are booked in for that. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you all for being on the call. I appreciate you all. See everybody.